welcome to United Weekly, where we have no genders and we are forever red. So today we are, this is our first live stream, and next to me is Jane Pixels,
Yo!
who is our lead producer, and I'm your host, Alexi Fury. And yeah, we've got a lot to get through. We're going to try and keep it as short as we can. So the first thing, Jay, is Jane Sancho. Obviously, there's been a lot of movement back and forth and all sorts of things. What are your thoughts on Sancho right now?
I still think there's a chance we can do the deal. I think what's happened is we always knew that there was going to be a £100 million price tag on him. I think what's happened is we've sent Woodward back in to try and get that lowered, or do some form of instalments type payment, and Dortmund are holding out for the full whack. And now it seems less likely. He played last night and scored. Jude Bellingham also scored, which is another failed United transfer. First time, by the way, that two English players have scored in the same game in the Bundesliga, which I thought was quite nice. But the fact he played yesterday means that we won't have him before Crystal Palace. I can see us doing a last minute 11th hour deal for him on the last day. And the fact is that we haven't signed anyone else, but we haven't got rid of anyone else either, which is worrying. And I think that there's so many chess pieces involved in this, but I think at the end of the day it comes down to investment. I think if we got Jadon Sancho, he would sell shirts, we'd make back his transfer price within the season.
Well, as I was saying to you about an hour ago now, you're not paying 108 million for the player he is now. You're paying 108 million for the player he's going to be.
Yeah.
And who Jadon Sancho has the potential to be, and who I believe he'll be, is another Cristiano Ronaldo. He's going to be that good. He's going to push us to titles and challenging for Champions League in the final potentially. You know what I mean? Like he's that sort of player that can really push us forward, and he wants to come to United. He's set on coming to United, and he's agreed personal terms, and all this stuff is great. But if the Glazers won't pay, there's nothing Woodward or Solskjaer or even Sir Alex Ferguson or me or you or anyone can do, because the Glazers just won't pay it if that's the case.
And I also think as well that with Sancho, if we can pay 85 million for Maguire, wasn't it, or 80 million for Maguire?
80, yeah.
How can you not pay an extra 20 million for the brightest right winger in all of Europe?
He's the best player in the world in his age group.
Yeah, and I mean, just watching him.
Simple.
I watched the England game, the games the other week. They weren't that impressive. They're very boring. I very much lose my love for watching England games unless it's a cup final. They took him off too early. But he still seems bright, he wants to play football, and if you look at the likes of Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, Van der Beek, Bruno, Pogba, they all want to play football. Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, they don't want to be those players. They don't want to be a Mesut Ozil.
Or Gareth Bale.
I was about to say Gareth Bale. We'll get into that later. That are happy, or an Alexis Sanchez that are happy to sit on the bench or sit out injured because they know they're making money. These players want to play football for the love of football. Sancho is one of those players, and that's why we need him at United. And I think that even people aren't even thinking about the boost it would give the team. I think Sancho, after watching him for the last 6 months with Dortmund, how much cover he would provide to even Wan-Bissaka, because he tracks back as well, and he might look quite slender and quite lean, but he's got a bit of strength behind him, and he puts the challenge in.
Yeah, and he's young. He can bulk up. I mean, look at De Gea when he was spindly and a bit thin, and he put on muscle and became the world's best goalkeeper for 5-6 years.
Well, the three players that come to mind, one became the best player, arguably the best player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, when he first joined. There was nothing of him. I could breathe on him and he'd fall over.
Yeah, look at him now.
Yeah, and then Antonio Valencia was the same when he joined from Wigan. He wasn't as ripped, but look at him towards the end.
He became an absolute tank.
He was a triangle, and the same is like everyone calls him fat, but he isn't. If you see Luke Shaw is built.
Yeah, and he's a beast. Yeah.
Do you know what the one thing about all three of those players is? They put on mass and they didn't lose pace.
Yeah.
Because Luke Shaw's still quick, as much as people don't want to admit that. He is still quite quick. And United can do wonders for Sancho, where other teams might not benefit him.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we just can't get this deal over the line, and it's driving me absolutely insane. I'm getting bored of seeing the stories about Sancho, because one minute I'm optimistic, the next minute I'm not so much.
Well, I mean, like obviously, a lot of people saw Fabrizio Romano this morning saying that that the deal was pretty much signed in July. I mean, not signed, but it was very close to being done in July.
Yeah.
And from the sounds of it, if this is true as well, then it's even worse. But from the sounds of it, the Glazers or someone around them turned around to Woodward and said, "You need to go back and renegotiate that deal. Like, we're not paying it. Whatever that deal was, whether it was just money up front or in 2 installments or something, they just went, we're not paying it like that." And told them to go back and renegotiate the deal. And Dortmund went, "No, this is the deal that we want, and it's take it or leave it."
Yeah, you look at the transfer policy they have for their American football team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it's the Buccaneers. They got
Buccaneers.
They got Tom Brady, who is the most decorated person playing American football.
Yeah. And
they didn't question like that deal. I mean, I do like American football, but that deal happened very quickly, and it just goes to show.
Well, like it seems we've moved on to the Glazers Woodward discussion now. Wasn't a fan when it happened of Glazers taking over. Still not a fan now. They've taken best part of 100 million out of the club in the past 5 years in dividends. And yes, they've invested money, but it's not their own money.
No.
They're not invested their own money in the club. Before we were owned by the Glazers, we weren't in debt. We were not in debt. And since they took over, they bought us on debt. And how the Premier League and the FA allowed that transaction to happen, I don't know. Because if I think the previous one to that was the B Sky B attempt, wasn't it? That wanted to take over United.
Well, no, B Sky B did take over United in the treble winning season.
No, it was thrown out. I remember.
Did it get thrown out in the end?
It was thrown out. It was very close, but it.
Okay. Yeah.
By the sports the court of sports.
Okay. Yeah, because I do remember the press conference, because I used to have the VHS of the treble winning season, and I remember
but they were holding up the shirt.
They
were going to sign the dotted line.
I remember it exactly, because it's like, you want to win the league, we want to win the league. You want to win the cup, we want to win the cup.
And thankfully it didn't get ratified.
Yeah.
But that was going to make United the richest club in the world at the time.
And the funny thing is that we didn't go with that, but we've always been.
We ended up with the Glazers. We ended up with the Glazers, who bought us on debt. How that B Sky B deal didn't? I mean, the B Sky B deal didn't happen because it would have monopolised Manchester United and the Premier League for Sky, which ended up happening anyway, because Sky bought all the contracts for Premier League football. But the fact that they allowed the Glazers to take us over on debt, just ridiculous, man. Just like, look at the Newcastle deal this year. Like, if that that almost happened, and that would have been similar to the Man City deal, where they buy out the club's debt and they own the sharing the high percentage of the club, so they technically own the club.
Yeah. See, I don't want rich owners. I don't want rich owners. When you say jump, they say how high. I just want owners that are willing to bring in a technical director or a director of football that can advise. Like, I've been saying this for years now. Patrice Evra is on Sky Sports doing fuck all. Bring him in. Or Edwin van der Sar. Get him in. Like someone that knows the club, someone that loves the club, someone that knows football, someone that knows how transfers work, someone that can help Ollie with a scouting network.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, our scouting network don't go any further than a sticker book of the England page.
Well, no, I mean, look at the players that we've tried to buy. I mean, we failed, sure, but the scouting,
Yeah.
we failed. But the scouting, I think, has been better. I mean, we wanted Upamecano, and he signed a new contract, so that hasn't happened. We looked at Badiashile and put in a bid, and they rejected it, and we didn't up the bid. Still don't understand why, but we didn't. And then Arsenal got Gabriel, who we were talking to, and it's just our scouting is right, but still the people who are doing the negotiations are wrong.
Yeah, and
we've got an ex-banker doing. Bring in Edwin. Just bring in Edwin. I know he's the director of football at Ajax right now.
Yeah, and that's why I think he would be good, because he's done the job at a lower club.
Yeah, and he knows United through and through.
Exactly.
He lived it.
Well, he's won everything for United. I think other than the FA Cup, I don't think he won that, did he? Did he win that?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
No. But no, he pretty much won the Champions League. He won the Premier League. He knows how the clubs run. He played during the Fergie era.
Yeah.
Someone of that ilk. Same with Evra, like very intelligent people that and I know he was let go recently, but we've seen like players becoming directors of football works. Eric Abidal at Barcelona did very well in his first few seasons in the job. Obviously, he ended up getting let go because of issues, and the way Barcelona and Real Madrid are run with their presidencies and stuff is a lot different to English football. But I do think you need to yes, owners of the club should be rich multimillionaires at the end of the day. That's just a business.
If you want to be a top club,
Yeah.
then that's kind of a necessity. But if those owners don't invest, like look at Newcastle, Mike Ashley, he doesn't invest. He has he invests enough so the club can function.
Yeah.
And I would say even, and this may be a bit controversial, but I would say even Mike Ashley is more willing to invest than the Glazers are.
Well, look at this. Look at who they've bought already, and
Proven Premier League striker, proven Premier League midfielder.
Yeah, and
who have improved that. They've improved that team drastically.
And they both scored.
And they both scored. I think Newcastle are going to have a much better season this season.
Yeah,
they've got a talented striker. As long as he doesn't get injured, he'll score 20. Yeah, in that Newcastle side, which has always created chances, just can't finish them.
I mean,
they could finish top half the table. They could really move forwards.
The big issue I have, is that you've got these higher up businessmen that know nothing of the sport. And it's like trying to tell someone that knows nothing about radiators, oh, you need to go out and buy this radiator for £500, and you'll never feel cold again. And it's like someone's sitting there saying, well, I've got this radiator here and it keeps me all right. Why am I going to just waste £500? Like, it's because you don't know how radiators work.
Yeah.
And it's like that with the Glazers. They don't know football. They don't know, they all they think about is marketing. All they think about is dividends,
money.
bonds,
it's just
money.
It's all about money. Yeah.
And but sometimes, and sorry for the analogies, but sometimes you have to chop down a bush in order for it to grow straight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take a financial hit. But our net spend over the last 3 or 4 seasons is ridiculous.
60 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, people say, "Oh, you spent really big last season." We really didn't.
It's a lack of ambition. It's just a pure lack of ambition. As long as we're finishing 4th, 5th, they don't care. They couldn't care less.
Well, if we had Jadon Sancho in, right? What is it? It's what is it? £2 million per place in the Premier League, I think it is.
It's like on average, yeah.
So if you finish, say 2nd or 3rd, you're roughly getting like 20 million. Now, if you get to
Yeah.
like the semis of the Champions League, you're making about the same. With
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho, we could realistically do that. So you've already paid a third of the cost just from position alone, and then you've got to think about shirt sales. Then you've got to think about the marketing campaigns he'd get via. I'm sure he's with Adidas. I can't remember, but like whoever his sponsorships is, the cut that the club gets, because clubs do get a cut of their players being part of sponsors and things like that. Like there's just like so much. You recoup those costs. You'd recoup Jadon Sancho's costs a lot easier than say a defender like Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Because he's exciting, he's young, everyone wants to watch him play. He in 3 years he might fall off the and end up being injury prone. You never know, but the thing is you've got to think of the projections for the first season.
I mean, the same thing could happen with Ronaldo. If
Yeah,
he
exactly.
picked up if his leg had gone broken and he'd been out for 2 years, his career would have been very different.
Yeah.
But you take the chance, and that's what Chelsea's done. Like, look at their investment, and they've invested in their future. They've taken a chance on several. If you compare, if you say you can either sign Kai Havertz or Jadon Sancho, you take Jadon Sancho.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's a better player.
100%.
But Chelsea knew that he wasn't coming to Chelsea, so Kai Havertz, who's a very good player as well. Let's move on from Glazers and Woodward, because we could go for hours on that, and that's we could discuss that till our heads explode. So there's been a development in the Regulion. Sorry, there's a fly. The Regulion transfer saga, which is very much that he's going to Spurs now. That's the noise that's coming out of a lot of reputable places.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the player prefers United, but we're not willing to pay 30 million. Again, we're not willing to pay what the asking price is, which is ridiculous. And we don't want to agree to a buyback clause, just a first refusal. Whereas Tottenham have gone, here's 30 million euros. Yeah, buyback clause is fine.
See,
and I think Madrid are going to go, well, we accept, and then it's up to the player, then, isn't it?
See, I am not so mad at United about this one. For one reason, I think is that getting a player on a buyback clause is a no-no for me. Gerard Piqué comes to mind. Worst thing is we want is 2 years of having this player, and then Real Madrid and him being amazing, and Real Madrid being like, yeah, actually, do you know what? Old Marcelo isn't cutting it anymore. Let's get Regulion back, or Regulion, and get him back now. Oh, here you go. Here's the 30 million, 40 million buyback clause, and then it's down to the player then. Now the player is like Gerard Piqué, born and bred Madrid. Like Piqué was born and bred Barcelona. You can't turn that down. If you're being given, like, for example, me, I'm a Man United fan, always have been. If I was a footballer and Man United sold me as a kid, and then they said, okay, we really want you to be a starting player, that's my dream come true. That's the reason I got into football, is because I loved Man United. Like, you don't turn those down. You can't be angry at a player for turning that down.
Absolutely not. No,
same reason
absolutely
I wasn't mad at Ronaldo for leaving us for Madrid. He gave us the extra season we wanted, and then he left. His dream was always to play for Madrid. Being that he was Portuguese from Madeira, it's like, he followed obviously Sporting, and he followed Spanish teams, and he loved Madrid. Fair enough. Like, I understand that he was a good servant, but I don't want a player for a couple of years to then be like, bye. Like, it just seems like an expensive loan.
That's it. Yeah, it is. And, we're not that club. We've never been that club. That's just a no-no. So, yeah, I think, honestly, we can go and get Tellez for 20 to 23 million.
We need someone to back up Shaw. We do.
Yeah.
Because
and yes, Tellez is 27, but so he's in the prime of his career then, and he's a solid attacking fullback. Defensively, not as good as Shaw, but very very talented left back. And we do need another left foot left back because Brandon Williams is right footed.
Yeah, like I said, I can totally see United trying it this season. If we got a Tellers in, or if we got a Regulion in, I could totally see us trying Luke Shaw at left centre back. He did well when we were in a back three, and I can see it happening.
Yeah, that's it.
But we do need backup because Brandon Williams, like you said, is a right back, not a left back.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to bad transfers, which is something that we've gotten used to over the past sort of 5-6 years, maybe longer. Obviously, Bale has been touted as a potential loan deal for the season. Just a hell no for me. just a straight up no. I don't want Gareth Bale at United. As I said to you before stream, 3 or 4 years ago, yeah, I would have taken Bale. Before all of his injuries, he's in his prime, he's scoring goals.
When he seemed unsettled at Real Madrid after 2 seasons, but he was still scoring for fun. I was like, we should go in for Bale, because we've always had an issue with our right wing since. I mean, I can't think of
since Ronaldo left.
Yeah,
basically.
But then even Ronaldo pretty much played up front for us. You know what I mean? It's like
front left wing. Yeah, that's true.
So it's like we've not had like a proper right wing. So I was like, yeah, go for him. And like, I'm going to say this now. I don't want that transfer to happen. If he joined, I'd have to back it because it's not the player's fault. But I would not be happy with it. I don't think that is anywhere near an alternative to Jadon Sancho.
No, I'll be surprised if Gareth Bale was on any list of Solskjaer's anywhere.
It's like me leaving my fiance for a fucking 75-year-old woman called Doris. It's like, what's it going to give me in the long run? Can't have kids with her. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to give me nothing. I get nothing out of this. Like, I maybe get like a year of fun with Doris, but then it's over and done with.
Yeah, I mean, just Bale is just another Sanchez, another Di Maria. Although some circumstances around that, and I could sort of understand that, but still. And Schweinsteiger, bad signing. Well beyond his playing years, and shouldn't have bought him at all.
Though he did become a fan favourite because he was just such a lovely guy.
I love Bastian. I've always liked Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Yeah,
he's a wonderful professional and a top class player, and I've always had a soft spot for good players. Just, always respect good players.
I mean, but then you got that Schneiderlin as well. He was a bit of a
flop. Schneiderlin was a bit. Yeah, well, I think Schneiderlin, and he looked like he could be a good player. Didn't quite work out. That's fine. It's the players that we're paying $500,000 a week to that aren't showing up. That's where my issue is really. Should never have bought Fellaini. Not United player, never United player.
No.
Should not have bought him. But obviously Moyes, Everton, yeah, of course bought Fellaini. I would have taken Tim Cahill over Marouane Fellaini. I think he would have been a better player. Tim Cahill was quality on the ball and he had an eye for goal and he was cocky, and that's the kind of player that we needed at the time.
I think the only reason we bought Fellaini is because we had no one really up front that we could just lob the ball to, which Moyes likes to do.
Plan B, and apparently Mourinho loved him.
Oh yeah.
First thing Solskjaer did went, there's the door, mate.
I'll tell you what, the one thing I will give Marouane Fellaini, right, is that he did get us a few really crucial goals.
I'm not knocking the player. He always did his best. He worked hard. You know what I mean?
But he's just not a United player.
Not a United player.
No, not at all.
All respect to him as a professional footballer and all that, but never a United player. No more than Alexis Sanchez was a United player. No. I would have preferred to have kept Mkhitaryan and have him dawdle about for the season and then send him off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Than have Sanchez, because Sanchez was awful, and he didn't want to play for United as much as he said he did, and it's always been a dream. I didn't believe it for a second, to be honest.
No. He saw cha-ching. He saw cha-ching. That's all it was.
Yeah. And
again, that's where it's stupid for United, is that we offered Phil Jones a contract last season.
Phil Jones.
He wasn't even playing. It's like we just give out contracts. Like it's like the gifts you get in cereal boxes.
Yeah, and I'm not laughing at Phil Jones.
I am
as much as I could. But on the other side of it, I've said that he's worth about a packet of crisps. But like he could go do a job for like a Newcastle or something like that. He'd be a solid defender. He could gurn his way around the Premier League some more.
His pink boots are worth more than he is.
But I won't laugh at anyone who who is he's always tried his best. Bless him. Bless his pink boots and his cotton socks.
It's like that one kid in PE class that gets picked last, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, bless him. Look at him. He's trying.
I think he was one of those players that was infinitely better under Sir Alex.
Yeah.
I mean, like I think Darren Fletcher under any other manager would never have accomplished what he accomplished.
No.
Again, no disrespect to him. I love Darren Fletcher. He's a club legend to me, and he was a top class player. But he was a big game player because Sir Alex always just went, mark him. That's your job, and that's what he did for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
He would not let that player out of his back pocket. He was brilliant at it. I mean, and like in the Champions League finals, he didn't play. If he had played, I'm not saying he would have stopped Messi because no one could have stopped Messi back then. It was impossible. But the games would have been totally different because Darren Fletcher did not stop running and he didn't stop tackling people and annoying the fuck out of everyone he possibly could.
Yeah,
that was his job. He was the enforcer.
He was one of those. He was the
Roy Keane because we didn't have Roy Keane anymore.
Yeah,
we don't have Roy Keane. And Darren Fletcher's job was to be the enforcer, and he did. He didn't get sent off. I mean, he did get sent off in that Champions League final, which was BS. But anyway,
he was one of those unsung heroes, like a Ji-sung Park that was unsung.
John O'Shea, everyone.
John O'Shea, yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. John O'Shea.
Played in every position, literally even goalkeeper, and made an amazing save as well.
I know, and scored vital goals against Liverpool, against Arsenal. Like,
yeah.
What a legend. And then, both those players. I know it wasn't their prime anymore. After leaving, were never as good.
Yeah.
Because they weren't part of that squad, that ethos, and they weren't training under Sir Alex Ferguson.
I still can't believe that, going back to bad transfers, I'm going to talk about bad transfers out as well as in getting rid of players. And Herrera.
I still love Ander Herrera.
Yeah, and he played brilliant for PSG last season. He was the only decent player in that Champions League final that they lost. And we let him go on a free. And if anyone remembers the stress of trying to sign Ander Herrera, where it originally started the season before, where it was some fake agents, and Ed Woodward fell for fake agents.
Yeah.
And then a year later, we bought him and I think we only bought him as a cover-up to be like, oh no, it was never fake agents. We always were in for him. I think that's the only reason we ended up getting him.
As if our club's ineptitude wasn't on show enough, getting done by a couple of fake agents.
Ed Woodward's probably one of those people that says checks his emails in the morning and says, your great granddad has left a fortune of an estate. If you just email Western Union transfer over some funds, you'll get 100 million. He's probably like, oh, hello. And he probably sends it off. He's probably been... The reason we're probably not buying Sancho is he's probably lost all of the bloody pension fund for United being scammed.
Yeah. I mean, I think the saddest part of the whole thing is that nothing's going to change as long as the Glazers are United.
Yeah.
It won't. Like, if they sign Sancho, I want to say when, but... and I want to be in that kind of, not to name drop, but that Mark Goldbridge kind of 90% club. I want to be in there, I really do. But it's so hard when we just, every day, we just don't sign him, we don't sign him, and, yes, 11th hour, it'll be a bit of a tough Fellaini style, last minute, here's the money. Like Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, okay, we'll pay the money eventually, it's like, well, sod it, we have to now.
Yeah.
And we can't walk away from the deal because we'll be the laughing stock of Europe. We will. It's like, wait, you didn't buy Jadon Sancho. All the clubs from Liverpool, who, if Salah goes to Barcelona next year, could get Sancho if say Liverpool win the league again, which was my prediction.
Yep.
And say they finish like runners up in the Champions League, sort of thing. They do really well, and so Barcelona say, well, here's 150 million for Mo Salah. There you go. And Barcelona get rid of Griezmann and all that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they do that, and Liverpool will go, well, you almost went to United, but do you want to come to Liverpool? And we'll pay you whatever you want. Say 160,000 a week, for example. And Dortmund, how much do you want? Here's the money, because we just got that money for Salah, so we'll use that to buy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Real Madrid, or Barcelona just go, we'll buy Jadon Sancho.
You actually mentioned an interesting name there that I want to touch on as well.
Go on.
Really quickly. I know we're cutting it short for time, but Antoine Griezmann. Now, quite a few fans and fan channels are very much against United going in for Griezmann if we don't get Sancho. Now, I'm actually on the other side. I think that Griezmann going to Barcelona, the reason he's failed is because of Messi. I don't know if you know about all the controversy with Messi, where there was, I think, 3 games in a row where Suarez and Messi refused to pass to Griezmann.
Yeah. Griezmann was kind of frozen out.
Yeah. And, I mean, can you imagine how uncomfortable that is? That you've got this ego that is Messi. And, by the way, I'm going to throw this out there, controversial. The reason I think that Ronaldo is the best player in the world is because he's humble.
See,
I think Messi's an arsehole.
That's one of the things that you may agree on, is that Ronaldo, was at Madrid, which was supposed to be that club, and Barcelona are the team that play really, really great football, and they're the darlings of world football because of how they play. Ronaldo has always been the nice guy.
Yeah, and what he does for charity, what he does, there's a story from a YouTuber called Cal Freezy, and he interviewed Ronaldo for his perfume launch.
Yeah.
Or it's not perfume, aftershave launch. And so obviously you go there, it's like a press junket, you get like 10 minutes, you get to film a YouTube video with him, blah blah blah, and it promotes his product. Now, Cal Freezy's idea was, I think it was to show him videos of like some goals he's scored or something along those lines, and his
reaction to it or something like that.
Yeah, and the woman that was obviously Ronaldo's assistant for the day kept on like tapping her watch at the YouTuber, and eventually Ronaldo got really annoyed, yelled at the woman, and then now Cal Freezy, like this guy is like really shocked and doesn't know what's happening. Is it something he's done? Blah blah blah. So anyway, they finished off the video, gives him a handshake, Ronaldo gives him a hug, goes away. While doing the edit of the video, sends it to his friend who's Portuguese to translate. Turns out Ronaldo said, this guy has taken time out of his day to come speak to me. You do not rush him along. If I don't want to speak to someone before the end of their time, I will say, do not interrupt this man's video. He's just trying to do his job. And I love that from him. Because he appreciates that just because he's this multi-millionaire, billionaire, isn't he? He was the first the first billionaire in football. He's this billionaire that has all these contractual obligations. That underneath that, he still appreciates that there's this YouTuber that, admittedly makes a bit of money on YouTube, but still just a YouTuber at the end of the day. That he's like, this guy is working hard for his job. He's come all the way here to Spain to do this video.
Exactly.
The least we could do is give him 10 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. Have you seen the video of when Ronaldo in Madrid in disguise?
When he dressed up like the old man. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you ever seen Messi do anything even close to that?
No, the only thing I've seen him do is wear ridiculous suits at Ballon d'Or presentations.
Which is fine. Wear what you want.
And tax evade.
And tax evade and like.
Whereas Ronaldo, by the way, also still pays tax to his local council in Madeira.
Yeah, because he wants to support Madeira.
Mm-hmm. So
Messi, as far from what I've heard, Messi couldn't give a shit. Like he takes care of his family and friends, and that's kind of it really. And then doesn't pay tax.
Yeah, but then again,
like,
I mean, going back to the original point, is Antoine Griezmann. I still think there's a brilliant footballer in there. And think about it, who's up front for us? Anthony Martial. Who's in midfield for us?
Pogba.
Paul Pogba.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes somewhat sense, and I think that the reason Griezmann's played so bad for Barca is not because of the pressure of a big move, it's because he was frozen out by Messi, Suarez.
Well, I mean, look at Coutinho at Bayern. He's played much better. He scored against Barcelona and set up a goal. Like,
yeah, and they've done the same to Coutinho as well.
Yeah.
Anyone that comes in that left wing, because all Messi ever wanted was Neymar back.
Yeah, they wanted Neymar back, and the Barcelona board went, we're not doing that.
Yeah, so they throw up a stink at anyone that comes in. It's like if you've got a group project with friends and your best mate gets kicked out of it. Yeah. So you're gonna.
Well, it looks like Suarez is off to Turin now to Juventus. So.
Yeah. I mean,
Suarez and Ronaldo now. Jesus.
Yeah. Well. Messi couldn't leave, but he would have left if it wasn't for that ridiculous £500 million buyout clause. Otherwise, he would have been gone. He would have been at City by now.
Yeah, next summer he'll go somewhere. My guess is back to Argentina, but it depends what his ambition is.
See, I wouldn't be.
I don't know what his ambition. You know, he may well go to City, but if Guardiola has an awful season. Say in December they're like 7th or 8th. You know, they could sack Guardiola and then Messi's never to City. I don't. You know, who knows what's going to happen.
I see him finishing his career like Inter Miami or somewhere like that, because it's quite close to Argentina. It's a new upcoming club that's got like loads of money. I mean, who was it they bought recently? Blaise Matuidi.
Blaise, yeah. He's all right, so the very last topic, very, very, very quickly. What if we don't sign any more top players this summer? What if we don't sign Sancho, don't sign a left back or centre back? We just sign Van der Beek, didn't sell anyone, and we sign like Josh King, say on the final day.
So I reckon, and this is my personal opinion, I think that the one transfer we really need to do is a new sports science department in terms of our medical team, because I think that we're getting far too many injuries. I don't see us staying fully injury free all season,
which is why we need Sancho.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't got enough squad depth. We've got enough to cover Pogba or Bruno being injured with Van der Beek, and that's great. But we don't have enough squad depth. I think that it can go either way. Either we have an injury-free season, play amazing, and we finish third, or it's the complete opposite. We get racked with injuries and we finish anywhere between 4th and 7th.
Yeah, and Solskjaer gets sacked.
And Solskjaer gets sacked for something that's not even his fault.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
again,
say we come to January, December 30th, and we're 7th in the league. And we're say five points off of third, let's say.
Pretty much like this year.
pretty much like this year.
Yeah.
And we lose like say 2-1 to Newcastle at Old Trafford, or something like that, or some mid-table club. And the noise is that Solskjaer's going to get sacked. Who replaces him? There's only one name, isn't there?
Well, I mean, everyone says Pochettino.
That's it. Yeah.
But I'll be totally honest. I want Solskjaer to succeed.
100%.
Like, I
want Solskjaer, for the next 3 seasons after this one.
I was one of those people that was pissed off that Giggs didn't get given the job when Van Gaal came in, because he managed for those like 4 games, didn't he? When Moyes got sacked, and then we got Van Gaal. Because don't get me wrong, that yes, Solskjaer and Giggs, they're not experienced managers to the level of a Pochettino or an Allegri or anything like that, but they love the club, and that's what's important.
Look at Chelsea, man. Just look at Chelsea. Frank Lampard, who had managed Derby County, and that was it.
Yeah,
has come in and finished a point off of third with no transfers, just young players. Now he's been because of the transfer ban. Now he's been given a war chest. They've gone in like 2 weeks. They've bought all the players that they wanted. Deal's done. They're now sorting out a goalkeeper and stuff, and that looks like that's going to go through. So that'll be their 7th signing of the summer, 8th.
I can see Chelsea finishing second above Man City.
If Man City have another inconsistent Chelsea, pick up a good run, and they have some consistency through the season, I could see it. Like I think Chelsea are more likely to push second close than United at the moment.
Yeah, I think right now, I mean, maybe it's the negativity of my mindset because of all the Sancho stuff, the Regulion stuff. I would be grateful if we got 4th this season.
With the way things stand right now.
Yeah, because I just don't see us going injury free. I personally don't think that there's a team in England that can show up like we do on our day with our starting 11. I think and we proved it last season with our wins against Man City, our wins against Chelsea Tottenham 3 times, our wins against Tottenham. The fact that we were the first team to take points off of Liverpool, and we should have won that game. Like, we do well against the big teams, and when we've got our starting 11, like we were just around just after lockdown, when we were firing on all cylinders.
When we had Bruno and Pogba and Rashford and Martial all fit.
Yep.
Wan-Bissaka, Shaw.
Yep.
Everyone fit. I mean, the centre-back pairing has always been a bit dodgy, but when you score, if you're scoring 5 goals, that doesn't really matter too much.
Exactly, and I think on our best day, like if we can keep that starting 11 fit, but then what you got to factor in is Carabao Cup. Then what you got to factor in is FA Cup. Then the Champions League.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid, we get knocked out at the group stage and we end up in the Europa League again where we're playing on Thursdays. It's like there's so many moving cogs in how United's season can go, and I think all of them are out of Ollie's hands, and that's not fair on a manager. That's why a technical director of football is needed, because you need someone to be able to take the brunt of the transfers.
Yeah, which is what Sir Alex used to do. Sir Alex used to be that guy who would pick up the phone, player, and say, "I want you at United." And that's why we bought Van der Beek, because Solskjaer went, "I've had enough of this. I'm going to do it." So he picked up the phone, called Ajax, and said, "We want Donny Van der Beek," and they went, "Cool, we're happy to let him leave. Here's our price. Cool, yeah, everyone happy with that? Sound, signed, done." That's why it got done in 3 days rather than 3 months that we've been on Sancho now. Like, I mean, sort of back in February, we were talking about Sancho. It's been coming all last season, or half of last season.
They've hung him out to dry though, because I remember back just towards the end of the season, where Sancho said, like, our club is in such a stable position. I don't know if you remember this. Our club is in such a stable position that coming into the transfer window won't be as much of a problem for us. We didn't furlough any of our staff. We didn't do pay cuts. We didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Tottenham did, and still Tottenham have spent already about 35 on Højbjerg, 35 on Doherty. They're going for 30 million for Regulion, and there's talks of Bale.
And they're talking about.
So they've already spent 100 million, which is what we need for Jadon fucking Sancho, and apparently we're putting it down to the coronavirus.
Yeah, and I'm not buying that. Like we've been in debt thanks to the Glazers for 15 years. So there's no difference now. It's like the fact that the club's losing money when it's like, well, you're already in debt, so what's a bit more debt? You know what I mean? Just buy the player, because players like Sancho will pull us out of debt by winning titles, winning championships, bringing in Champions League money. Season in, season out. I mean, if I'll be grateful to finish quarterfinals Champions League this season. Beat some kind of more second-rate team in round 16. Be drawn against Real Madrid, Juventus, or Bayern Munich, God forbid, in the quarters. And with Sancho, we've got a better chance. Not a good chance against Bayern, because Bayern, I think, are going to be a machine now.
Yeah.
But we'd have a better chance with Sancho than without. It's just ridiculous. And if we don't sign Sancho, we will be the laughing stock of Europe. It's that simple. It's going to be one of the dark. It's going to be the darkest day since we were relegated from the old Division 1.
Yeah, and I mean,
it'll be that bad.
I think that maybe there's a part of the Glazers that hope that United do a Fergie, which is like, if you think about it, like, we didn't have big investment. Fergie built that team, luckily with the class of '92, and really good purchases, and
I think he was inarguably the being involved in football.
Yeah.
Like, you can make your arguments about Viola and Mourinho and other managers who've been brilliant, but to sustain that level of success at one club for no one else will ever do that again.
No,
it's never going to happen again. Just because of the nature of football, never mind anything else. And I think second to him was Arsene Wenger.
It was.
Arsene Wenger was a fantastic manager. Make no bones about it. He was an unbelievable manager.
I feel bad about the way he left, to be honest with you.
Me too, but this also isn't an Arsenal fan channel, thank God. So, the fact that Sir Alex Ferguson got so much out of a lot of players who, I loved, but I thought were second rate. Rafael da Silva was second rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Sir Alex Ferguson got the best out of every single one of those players, because that's what he did. He knew how to do it. It didn't always work. Eric Dembaba, Kleberson. There are some players that didn't work. Say Veron, as much as I loved that we bought Veron.
Yeah.
He didn't fit in, unfortunately, because he played as what is now known as a number 10.
Yeah.
In behind striker, and that football didn't exist back then. He was ahead of his time. Or at least in the Premier League was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Because we played 4-4-2 back then, and that's how the Premier League was. It was all 4-4-2.
Yeah, everyone was 4-4-2. Yeah.
Everyone was 4-4-2, and now you only see it from the clubs who want to have a bit more defensive capabilities. But yeah, like the fact that we don't have that manager anymore. Sir Alex didn't need a director of football because he was a director of football. He was the manager, he was the head coach, he was the director of football. He led the club forwards. Sir Alex Ferguson was Manchester United. He was a reason. He was the pillar that held up the success. And after he's gone, I mean, you just have to look at the past 7 years. We've had middling success. We've had an FA Cup, a League Cup, and a Europa League. That's it.
And I think Solskjaer's been the closest to Fergie. So
yeah. Jose should have been better, but he wasn't backed. Van Gaal could have been better, but his football didn't fit United, and he wasn't backed. And David Moyes he had no confidence.
No.
And he wasn't backed.
Yeah.
And the single thread running through all of that is not that. And Mourinho's last summer, when we finished second.
Yeah.
And okay, let's kick on now. Let's buy some good players. What did they give him? Dalot and Fred.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do with that? I mean, again, not to knock Fred. He's one of my favourite players. I think it was there were some good sections of last season where he was our best player.
He had a hard first season.
Yeah, that's it. And he had a very hard first season, but he's playing, in a restricted role under Jose Mourinho. That he wasn't allowed to go box to box, and he's a box to box player. Just not backed is the problem. Anyway, I think that's our time.
It is, yeah.
Thank you to Jess and Savage who came in late there, and anyone else that's watched in between. We are United Weekly. We have no agendas, and we will be forever red. See you next time.
Peace.